Good morning, Billy Randolph. How you doing? Ah, here they all come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
June,
Hey,
I think
Charles.
that's you. You sound far away, though. Okay. Happy Friday, everybody. How are we doing?
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, okay. Well, far away. Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of your photos that you sent, all of with the sycamore tree.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and all of that. Yeah, that last email.
Okay. All right. Great. So
Yeah,
everybody,
I sent.
yes.
No, I sent you one of another short person that I drew of you.
Yes, I know. I saw that. Yeah.
I did
And I have a comment about that, okay?
Okay.
You know, when
We can save it.
yeah, and I'll have to share this with everybody a little bit later in the class, but you know, when you
Yeah.
shot it, right? You didn't
Mhm.
square it up and you were kind of shooting downward. So it
Yes, true it was. It wasn't hanging on the wall, yes.
yeah, so
I did it
so
back.
when you shot it, it made the head look even bigger than it did in the original painting. I don't know quite what that says about the person who you were painting, but okay.
Well, that wasn't my best bet, you know. I mean, that was a long time ago, and when you were our model, you know, that day you were our model because the model didn't show up,
That's right. Yeah,
and I was determined to get you on that canvas.
yeah. You did. You did. You did. You know, you got my beard and the whole bit, my hat.
Yeah, just cut your body off, so
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
But you got a big chest.
Yeah, you kind of gave me a little body, you know, on a really big head, but that's okay. That's okay. There's something that kind of
Well, I learned something from that painting.
yeah. Yes, you did. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna get started. It's Friday, and God, we got quite a few things to talk about. First of all, did everybody get? I sent out an email with a link to a video.
Yes.
From Proco.com.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So people got that. Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because I know there's still like one or two email addresses. It's like sometimes things go through no problem. I use that very same email address, and then I get a notification back, you know, well, we can't deliver to that email. I don't know why that is, but I'm trying to get that straightened out. At any rate, so we have a lot of things to look at today, a lot of things to talk about. And you know,
This video is saying it's unstable because you keep you shut down and then it waits a few minutes for you to come back up.
okay, well, I think that may be more about your
Okay, mine. That's Comcast. Yeah, I got that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, it's technology. What do you want? You know?
Or to work.
You know?
That's always a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. You know, it's like
Paying big money for no service, though.
well, yeah, we could get into a long discussion about that. Actually, one of the things I listened to today was there was a gentleman who was running in the Democratic primary. His name is Andrew Yang. Has anybody heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a tech guy. That's his background. And actually, I was listening to a podcast that he produces now. And one of the things he was talking about is about how much time everybody is spending online today at places like Facebook and, you know, through Zoom and stuff like that. And he's talking about how these big tech companies are literally making billions, not millions, but billions of dollars off of your data. Okay. You know, because they watch everything you do. Okay. Everywhere you go, every click you make is recorded, and they know more about you than you probably know about yourself. Right. In fact, you know, a lot of these advertising companies can actually predict with almost 100% certainty what you will buy and when you will buy it.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's a pretty good trick. You know, I spent 30 years in the advertising industry, and you know, we did market surveys, things like that. We never had that kind of accuracy. But now today, you know, with as much time as people spend online, they really can tell you, you know, about what you'll buy, how often you'll buy it, you know, how much you'll spend, whether you'll shop around, you know, and look at other places and try to find, you know, more, you know, cheaper things. Okay.
That's absolutely true. I've experienced that all the time, many times, Charles. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're like on any website and you go and look at, let's say you're going to go on a vacation and you start looking at vacation rentals, it's like for the next 2 weeks, you know, you'll get all these little pop-up ads about places that you can go, you know, for vacation, or, you know, or tour companies and things like that. I mean, literally, I mean, they will track everything that you do. Okay. Anyway, he's got an initiative where what he's trying to do is he's trying to get people's data to where these companies have to actually pay you for the use of your data.
That would be good.
Yeah. Well, you know, he talked a lot about that, because it's about using, you know, you as a consumer, right? And that's what you are doing right now. You're consuming a service, right?
Yeah.
And so what he's talking about is getting people the rights, you know, to actually profit, you know, off of their own activities, you know, and in, you know, in participating in the economy more. Okay. So it's kind of
I hope you get it done. That's a good idea.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Who do you think's paying for all these free Zoom sessions?
Well, right now, you know, yeah, the free Zoom sessions, yeah, it's advertising, you know, and if you don't think that, you know, somebody, or that, you know, well, not somebody now, you know, actually computers can go through, and it's like every word that we say can be broken apart, and they can look at these Zoom sessions and what's been discussed and have a good idea about who might want to listen to things like we're talking about, and they can market to them. And this is literally globally, okay? Not just here, okay? So yeah, it's interesting stuff. Anyway, we're gonna get to talking about drawing, okay? And I sent you guys a video, right? And that was from, you know, Proko.com. And it's an interesting site, but it's certainly not the only site out there you could go to get information about drawing. But I shared that video because I thought, you know, it's something that in the drawing classes at Benson, I've talked about over and over and over again, you know, about how to hold this tool right here, you know, called a pencil, right? And, you know, a lot of people want to do this, like you're going to write with it, because that's what we've become comfortable with. And to draw with it effectively, you have to learn how to hold it and how to use it in a different way, all right? And it becomes, you know, a more expressive tool if you learn how to hold it correctly. Now, if you're using like a pen, right? Like a ballpoint pen, you know, you can kind of hold it like that, but you're not going to get the same effect.
Won't the ink flow?
Pardon?
The ink won't flow like that.
No, 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 it won't. Yeah. Now, there are some pens that will.
Yeah.
If you get like a felt tip marker, or you get what they call a brush pen, or, you know, any kind of like calligraphy pen or something, yeah, you can still hold it like a drawing tool, and it becomes a much more interesting tool to use that way, okay? But generally, charcoal pencils, graphite pencils, print color pencils like this.
Perfect.
Pardon? Yes.
Excuse me. I thought I was muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Anyway, if you look at this, okay, this is my mighty pencil right here. Notice how short it is. Okay, it's been well used, and I have a whole bunch of them. Okay, pencils for me get really, really good when they get about this size. See, because I can take that pencil and I can put it in my hand, and it's almost like I'm directly connected to the end of it, and it becomes a much more expressive tool. And then sharpening it with a particularly long edge is pretty important as well. And you know, the longer edge that you can create on a drawing tool, the more effective it becomes, you know, at being like a really expressive tool. If you've got this short little point on it, you can't do much with it, right? But if you got this long edge on it, then you can lay it down on the side and shade with it. As you're making a line, you can make things thicker and thinner, you know, harder and softer. You know,
You
all
get that
those
from an
things.
electric sharpener?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now,
Electric
yes,
sharpener?
yes. Yeah, you can actually now buy electric pencil sharpeners that are made to sharpen for what they call a drawing point or a drawing edge. And what they'll do is they'll give you that really, really long point now. Now you have to go online and actually, you know, look for, you know, a pencil sharpener that will do that. Okay. But
I use regular pen.
yeah, they're actually making tools now, you know, or pencil sharpeners that will actually sharpen like that, just because people are using them, you know, primarily for sharpening drawing tools, right? And it
A lot
saves
of
you,
times they break.
pardon?
So when you have that longer point, when you sharpen them way down there at the base, they break. And then you start again. I can use up a whole pencil
Yeah,
in about
well,
5 seconds.
yeah,
because it's broken.
yeah, that's more of a matter though of not the length of the point as much as the pressure that you're putting on the pencil. Okay.
No, I mean, as soon as you sharpen it, it's like somebody dropped a pencil and it broke the lid all the way through
Oh,
the
okay.
base.
Is that on a graphite pencil or is that on charcoal?
I don't know what it was because I had to throw it. That's the reason I don't have any pencils now.
Ah, okay. Well, now, you know, I've had that happen with charcoal pencils in particular. And some of them, yeah, it's like you start sharpening it and they just, you know, they're
Disintegrate.
on a whole piece. Okay. It doesn't
Colored
happen that
pencils
often.
also?
Pardon?
It apply to colored pencils also?
Yeah, color pencils, I've never had a problem with.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always, you know, it's like this is all one solid stick of color. But with graphite or not graphite, but charcoal in particular, yeah, a lot of that seems to be really fragile. And if you drop it or, you know, handle it roughly, you can literally break the charcoal into small segments, you know, in the shaft of the pencil.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
got one of those specialty art ones, and it really works. It doesn't do that, and it gives a nice long. I got it on Amazon.
yeah,
So it works when you get the right utensil, or whatever.
right. Yeah. I mean, I've got one sitting over here. I love that thing. I've had it now for about 2 years.
What
And,
is it?
Here, I'll show it to you. It's a pencil sharpener. It's just an electric sharpener. You know, that's it. Okay. And, you know, it has a reservoir. All of the pencil shavings end up in it. You know, but you sharpen it, it goes down in the top, you know, kind of like this.
Right.
And it gives you that like really, really extra long point on the thing. So
And
That-
what's
that's
the
the
name
one
of
I-
what you got? What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
AFMAT, AFMAT is the
I
only,
got that same one, but I got one just like that on Amazon.
yeah, well, that's where I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on, yeah, I ordered it on Amazon about 2 years ago. And believe me, I love that thing. You know, that's, you know, that was like the coolest thing, you know, for drawing. Now, like I said, you know, like if you're working in graphite or you're working in color pencils, those things work really, really, okay? Now, Gene was talking about the fact that with graphite pencils, or not graphite, but charcoal, you know, charcoal is real fragile. And, you know, depending on the hardness of the charcoal, when you sharpen it like that, sometimes it works really well, sometimes not so well, you know. And you can go through a whole pencil, you know, a graphite pencil, like in no time with these. So usually with graphite, you know, I go old school with that, and I just use like an X-Acto knife or a razor blade, and I just sharpen it down by hand, you know, very gently. Because, and believe me, I got lots of practice when I was going to the Academy of Art, because it's like every morning, everybody would show up about 20 minutes early so we could stand around the trash can and sharpen about 4 or 5 charcoal pencils, you know, to a really long edge so we could draw with them during the class. And so you get good at that, you know, pretty quickly. Anyway, anybody got anything they want to bring up before we dive into talking about drawings? The world treating everybody okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Still alive.
What was that?
Still alive.
We're alive. Is this Wanda?
Bernice.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's good. It's good to hear your voice. I can't see your picture. I get about 4 people, you know, that I see,
Oh,
and then I get kind of the list. But yeah, I don't get to see everybody unless I scroll through, you know, the whole.
I'm not on that on video though.
You're not?
No, I need to do that.
Okay. Well, you could. You could. We
I
could.
want a background like John though.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the 2 of you could get together and he can tell you how to do that in Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know there is a way of, you know, getting that.
Is she on her computer? Are you on your computer?
Yes.
Well, you probably need to get a little portable camera and put it on the top of your computer. You can get them for a couple of bucks.
Oh, no. I know how to do the picture. I want a background.
Yeah, she's talking about, yeah, like John has like the earth with a sunrise behind
Yeah,
it.
they have it on there. Yeah, I can tell how to do that, but yeah, but
Yeah,
you can-
there's some little option you can go
the
to.
background.
Yeah,
Oh, she has one too.
Yeah,
June has one
yeah.
too.
June's got like a big flower back there. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'll
And you
figure
put
it
your
out.
picture on there. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we could have a whole session on nothing but technology on Zoom.
Oh yeah, I think I'll let you.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I am back, Charles. This is Wanda. I'm back.
Okay, good. I'm glad to see you. Okay. And I can see you actually.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna dive into this and let's get going. Okay. And because people sent in some interesting stuff over the week. Okay. All right. Can everybody see the writer?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I had showed this, and this is not a drawing. This is a photograph. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
But Larry, who likes to do, you know, sort of like, you know, mythological sort of like figures and things like that.
Amazon women.
Send that to me.
Amazon women, Larry.
You
I
were
didn't-
supposed to send that to me, and I asked you once again when you're going to send it.
Oh, you didn't get it?
You
You
didn't
sent it
send
to
it.
everybody.
I did. No, I didn't send it to everybody, but okay.
No, it didn't get to me.
I will.
Sorry.
Okay. After class today, I will send it again. All right.
Okay.
To
Okay,
you.
I'm back on mute.
To you. Okay, Larry. And if anybody else wants it, just let me know, and I'll send it out to everybody if they want to try it. Because it's
Charles, I took a picture of it with my cell phone and it comes out perfect.
I'm sorry, what, Vicky?
I took a picture of it from what you have displayed
Uh-huh.
and I have it on my cell phone now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vicky, do I have your email? I guess you just sent it to me, right?
I'll send it to you in your
In the
email
chat.
box, private.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I just saw that. Okay. And I will add you into the group. Okay. But anyway, I sent that, well, I sent it to Larry. And, it's an interesting figure if you want to work, on a drawing. That would be a good one to work with because you've got the connection between the animal and the movement, along with, a human figure, and what she's doing. And so that would be a fun one to practice on, okay? If you're so inclined. Moving on down the line here, we have Avatal Landman sent this piece in, and this is, I think she said it was colored pencil that she's been working with, and she's been working on like a black piece of paper and building up, the colored pencil on it. And the thing you have to know about colored pencils are when you're starting to lay those down, don't push too hard. All right. It's not about trying to get there quickly. All right. Color pencil takes a bit of time and you just want to kind of build it up slowly. Right. And so if you move your hand in like a circular motion, as you're laying the color down in areas, you'll get kind of a smoother sort of look and gradation and have more control over it. If you start moving back and forth, your hand, in a motion like this, you end up leaving a lot of lines and it looks kind of scratchy, right? But if you're moving kind of in a circular motion, you can lay those colors down and actually blend one color into another very nicely with them. And just work slowly, don't be in a big hurry, because if you get in a big hurry, it's going to start building up really quickly. And before you know it, you can't get any more material to stick to the paper, right? So, putting down a lot of pressure is not the way to go, on that medium, right? Now with charcoal or with graphite, the more pressure you put down, you can build it up really quickly, and get things pretty dark, but it doesn't work that way with color pencils so well, right? This is a piece that Betty Bates sent in. Now, remember the gardenia photo that I sent out? Okay. This is Betty's interpretation of that. So she's not drawing the little vase and the flower directly, but she's using that as sort of a basic inspiration or source, right? And she's developed this really lovely little kind of fluid drawing that becomes, this abstract pattern. Now, where she's going to go from here, I don't know, but I'd be interested to see, if she could take this and develop it, into, like an abstract painting, would be a good, a good thing to do from here. And, she's got, about four different values in there placed right now. And so, again, she could break those apart into colors, textures, and make a really interesting painting out of this. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the original source itself. This is just something to play with now. And I think it was when she sent this to me last week, what I did is I took it and I cropped it tight so that, you only got, part of it, and it created these positive and negative shapes. And then you could treat it, as I said, as a more or less an abstract painting, right? So, just little quick sketches, little drawings like this, you can do a lot of different things with them. And it's not necessarily about, copying, from life. You can, but you don't have to. Okay. This is the painting that Claudia was talking about. That's yours truly sitting there. We had a model not show up one day. It may not be absolutely anatomically accurate, but I think she kind of got who was sitting there. Okay. I've always liked this painting a lot. I thought it kind of got.
That's a caricature.
Pardon?
Like a caricature.
More or less, yeah. But yeah, I've always really liked that painting. It captured something.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. And
What size is that?
I learned something from it, and I should have. I just want to get everything on the canvas, even though I didn't have enough space, and somebody shortened it, and I wasn't supposed to do that. I didn't measure right in the first place, and then I tried to make the adjustments later.
okay.
That was all bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's, and you've taken the figure drawing class a couple of different times. And, that's why it's kind of key and important to start working from a gesture first. Because, finding that long line from the head down to the foot helps you scale and place the figure where you want it, right? And then you can build off of that. See? And whether or not you're working as a drawing or you're starting off as a painting, just a gestural stroke at first, just to get, again, that scale and proportion and how the figure is moving is really valuable. And that's kind of the key. If you get that off, the rest of the figure, the rest of the drawing isn't going to work. And that's why we spent so much time doing those gesture drawings, because what I was trying to get you to look at was the lengths and proportions, of who you were drawing. But not only that, but also the angles, I talked a lot in the class about how the human brain, we see lines that are horizontal and vertical really well. Anything in between that, the human brain doesn't like, and literally our brains will straighten things up, okay? And so you've got to really slow down, and you've got to really make some good, accurate, observations, and spend a lot of time really looking at what's going on up there before you make your first mark, see? Barbara Bradley at the Academy of Art, when I was a student there, she would have us do gesture drawings that were 2 minutes long. And you had better not make a mark on that paper until a minute had gone by, because she'd come after you. That was one of her things, is really stop what you're doing, stop what you're doing and really look at what's going on up there before you, make a mark.
What does gesture drawing mean? Gesture drawing.
Gesture. What you're trying to do is you're just trying to get. It's almost like a stick man.
Oh.
In a sense of what you're trying to do is you're trying to put down a long line that moves through the figure, so that you go from the top of the head down to one of the feet, right? And what that does is that sets up the size of the drawing and where the figure is going to sit on your paper. Okay? And that way okay, all right, right offhand, I know that I can get that whole figure in there, or whatever part of the figure I want on that page, to compose it, on that drawing. And, the biggest problem is that a lot of people, when they start doing figure drawing, they'll start up here, at the eyes or the head, right? And they'll keep working down, You know, keep going down the page, down the page, down the page. And by the time that they get down to the bottom of the page, they can't get the whole figure on, you know, because they've run out of room. So by doing a gesture first, what you're doing is you're making a statement that, okay, I'm going to make my figure that big, right?
Okay.
And I know I've got it all on the page, and they're moving, you know, in a certain way, right? And so it's just that really quick indication. But, you know, that first line is probably the most important line that you'll make in the whole drawing, okay? Because again, you know, it helps determine, you know, where that's going to sit on the page and how it's going to, you know, and where it's going to be, you know, what the composition of that drawing is going to be. And I keep emphasizing that in life drawing classes because it really is, you know, the whole deal is right there in that gesture. It's that one mark. And, you know, what it does is it stops everybody from getting tied up around the details, you know, about the arm, the head, the things like that, you know, all the different parts. And it makes you look, you know, at that drawing as a whole and a complete thing. And you're trying to get that whole shape or that whole movement on the page before you do anything else. Okay. And we'll talk about that more because there are some figure drawings in the mix here today. And so we'll talk more about that this afternoon. Anyway, I wanted to go over a couple of drawings because we are down to 8 minutes, okay? This is a drawing that Eloise sent in maybe a month ago. Eloise, are you here? I saw you.
Yes, we talked about it some time ago.
Did we? Okay. I
Yes.
can't remember whether we did or not. Yeah. But I like this drawing, you know, and it's a
Thank you.
1940 Ford Coupe, huh?
1940, yes.
Yeah. Was this just something that you saw, or does this have some personal connection to you?
My husband's car.
Pardon?
My husband's car that he used to put in shows.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow, it's very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
You know, that car today would be worth probably close to 40 or 50 times more than they originally sold that car for.
Wow, that's something.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. I had a 68 Pontiac GTO. And believe me, you know, I had no idea what I had when I was a kid and I had that car. Today, those cars are worth about $400,000 or $500,000.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is the car.
Yeah. If you've got one of those that still run and is pretty original, I mean, you know, you can pretty much so get somebody to write you a check for just about any size. So
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. But you know, a Ford Coupe like that, I mean, that's got to be a $200,000 or $300,000 car now.
And
I
it
wish-
must be in good condition, Eloise, if he was putting it in car shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a street rod.
Yeah. So if you got that car around, you know, I want to go for a ride with you. You know, that's a nice
Wow.
car. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And it's a nice drawing too. All right.
It is.
The only thing I was going to say is, you know, you could push the values on it, you know, make some of the darks stronger. Okay. You know, I think you got the lights and the midtones, but, you know, get in there and kind of build up those darks, particularly around the tires and the underside of the car. Okay. This is a ballpoint pen drawing that Fran Littner sent in. Okay. And it's a really nice drawing. Again, you know, this is the gardenias that I had sent out. And, you know, she played with it a little bit, you know, as far as reversing the shadow, you know, and making the right side darker rather than the left side, which was on the original photograph, you know, the direction of the shadow. But but still, you know, it's a nice composition, you know, on the page, you know, the way it's kind of anchored, you know, in there. And there's kind of a nice movement, you know, up, you know, and to the right. So, so yeah. And she's using ballpoint pen. And I think I talked about earlier in the week when she sent this in. If you're going to be drawing in a sketchbook, right? A lot of people like using graphite in a sketchbook or using charcoal. And that's fine, you can do that. But the problem is in about 10 or 15 years, when you open up that sketchbook, you're going to have a lot of abstract art in there because what's on the left page is going to transfer to the right and vice versa, and they're going to kind of mix together. And, you know, so over time, you know, using those kind of media in a sketchbook, they don't hold up really well. That's one of the reasons I got used to drawing with a Prismacolor pencil, because it doesn't transfer. Another thing you can do is, you know, you can use what they call fixative, and you can spray the inside of your sketchbook and fix your drawings. And one of the hints I like to give people is, and particularly since we have a lot of ladies here, how many of you have hairspray in the bathroom?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you can take that hairspray and you can use that as fixative.
Oh, okay.
One, it's cheaper than a $7 can of fixative. And the other is that it smells better. Okay? And
What kind of pencil did you say you used?
pardon?
What kind of pencil did you say you used?
Just a Prismacolor, a color pencil.
Oh, pencil?
Yeah, a color pencil. Yeah, the brand is called Prismacolor.
Or Prismacolor. Okay.
Yeah, I really like those. You know, those they're just soft enough and not too hard. Some color pencils are kind of really hard and, you know, they don't build up color very well. Prismacolor pencils, you know, are, in my opinion, you know, they're kind of the bomb. You know, they work really well. But what I was saying about fixative is you can go down at the dollar store and buy, you know, a can of Aquanet, and seriously, you can use that to spray the inside of your sketchbooks down, you know, and, you know, spray it, you know, leave the page open, let it dry completely, and then flip it, do the next page, right? You know, one, your sketchbooks will smell a lot better, and then all of your drawings won't transfer from one side to the other, okay? Because all that Aquanet is, all that most of those hairsprays are, is they're, you know, basically just a little bit of lacquer, you know, in there. And so, you know, they'll fix that drawing and be fine, okay? And it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot cheaper than buying a $7 can of, you know, spray fixative, okay? This is another one of her ballpoint pen drawings. And yeah, and I don't know whether she was, I doubt that she was drawing from life. She was probably drawing from a photograph. But, you know, even at that point, you know, using a ballpoint pen and everything else, I think she got a really, really nice sense of the character of who this person was, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, we'll look at more of these this afternoon. It's telling me that we have less than a whole minute here, okay? So, you know, hopefully I'll see all of you back here this afternoon. And we'll go through. I've got probably about 25 or 30 more drawings to talk about, okay? But anybody got anything to say before we go away?
Back at 2?
Huh? Yeah, 2 o'clock. Yeah, all right. So hopefully I'll see you all back here. If I don't, happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And, you know, we'll get back here and talk about some more drawings here in, what, about 2 hours? Yeah, 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Anybody really good at using Zoom yet?